Lynn Dunn was 100% blindsided by this. Whoever Amber Cox is the new general manager. The new GM and chief operating officer is Amber Cox. And Lynn Dunn has been fired. I repeat, Lynn Dunn has been fired.
Caitlin Clark was one vote shy of being a unanimous WNBA Rookie of the Year.
One thing that people forget is as a rookie, she was the most blitzed player in the WNBA.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about bullies, we can talk about every time Caitlin has the ball, she pushes off.
Oh, no.
I'm just saying.
You know what's crazy? The Indiana Fever just fired Lynn Dunn, their GM, but that's not even the wildest part. They replaced her with Amber Cox, a marketing whiz who's never been a GM before. Is this the boldest move in WNBA history or a disaster waiting to happen? Let's break it down and see if the Fever are cooking up something special or if they're about to get burned. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Lynn Dunn's firing came out of nowhere. Even she was shocked. We're talking about a WNBA legend here. Dunn's been in the game forever, coaching and managing like a boss. She's got championships. She's in the Hall of Fame. Firing her is like telling Michael Jordan he can't play basketball anymore. So why'd they do it? And who's this Amber Cox person? She's never been a GM before, but the Fever just handed her the keys to the whole operation. GM and COO, that's a big job for someone new to the game. It's like putting a rookie in charge of the whole team. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Fever's struggles weren't just about losing games. It was like watching a master chef try to cook with a microwave. Something was seriously off between the team's potential and their results. What was really going on behind the scenes? Well, let's talk about the Fever's recent performance. They've been at the bottom of the league, and it's not just bad luck. The team's been struggling, and a lot of that comes down to poor roster management and coaching strategies that just weren't working. But here's where it gets really interesting. You've got this superstar rookie, Caitlin Clark, right? She's like a Ferrari, but the team's been treating her like a minivan. The coaching style under Christie Sides just wasn't clicking with Clark's strengths. It's like they had this amazing race car but kept it in first gear. Fans were getting frustrated, and can you blame them? They're watching this incredible talent, Caitlin Clark, and it's like she's playing with one hand tied behind her back.
She received 66 of the 67 votes from the panel of national reporters and sports writers. I don't know how you come to the conclusion that she wasn't the unanimous MVP. She got a team into the playoffs when they hadn't been to the playoffs, I think, since 2016 or 2017. Led them in scoring. She led the rookies in scoring. She led them in assists. She averaged like 5-6 rebounds a game.
You asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it. You have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old. Like, you should be killing them.
Yeah. People were calling for change, especially when it came to supporting Clark in those big moments. You want to know how bad it got? Check this out. One fan said, Sides stuck him in that half-court BS for the last 6 games, then expected them to run during the playoffs. And Clark was tired. You could see that. That's rough. It's like asking a sprinter to run a marathon and then wondering why they're out of breath at the finish line. The Fever's management finally woke up and realized they needed to shake things up. They're looking for a coaching staff that can actually work with their young talent, especially Caitlin Clark. It's about time, right? But here's the million-dollar question. Is Amber Cox really the answer? She's never been a GM before, and now she's in charge of turning this whole ship around. It's a big gamble, and everyone's wondering if it's going to pay off. You know how some people can sell ice to Eskimos? Well, Amber Cox once sold out 7 games in a single season for the Wings. Think about what she could do with Caitlin Clark on her roster. Cox might be new to the GM role, but she's got a track record that'll make your jaw drop. During her time with the Dallas Wings, she turned the team into a fan magnet. We're talking about playing at 97% capacity all season long. That's not just good, that's insane. But wait, it gets better. Cox isn't just about filling seats. She's got a knack for building winning teams, too. Remember when the Phoenix Mercury won the championship in 2014? Guess who was running the show as interim GM? Yep, Amber Cox. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but can she handle being a full-time GM? Well, here's the thing. Cox has been crushing it in sports management for years. She's been the chief operating officer for the Wings and the Connecticut Sun. That means she knows how to run a team from top to bottom. Let's talk about what this means for the Fever. They've got Caitlin Clark, one of the hottest rookies in WNBA history. But having a star player isn't enough if you can't pack the arena. That's where Cox comes in. She's like a marketing wizard who knows how to turn star power into ticket sales. Imagine this, Fever games sold out every night. Fans going crazy, and Caitlin Clark lighting up the scoreboard. That's the kind of energy Cox brought to Dallas, and now she's bringing it to Indiana. But it's not just about marketing. Cox knows basketball. She's been around the game long enough to understand what makes a team click. And let's be real, the Fever needs some serious clicking right now. You know what's really exciting? Cox isn't afraid to shake things up. She's got a fresh perspective, and that's exactly what the Fever need. They've been stuck in a rut, and sometimes you need an outsider to come in and say, hey, let's try something different. Fans are already getting hyped about Cox's appointment. They're seeing the potential for a total transformation. It's like the Fever are finally waking up and realizing they need to do more than just draft well. They need to build a winning culture, both on and off the court. The Fever's shakeup isn't stopping at the GM's office. What if I told you that the coaching staff might be next on the chopping block? There's a storm brewing in Indiana, and it could change everything we thought we knew about this team. Let's talk about Christy Sides for a second. She's the current head coach, but word on the street is she's on thin ice. Why? Well, it's not just about wins and losses. The Fever have a once-in-a-generation talent in Caitlin Clark, and they need a coach who can maximize her potential. Fans are already calling for change. One even said, Christy Sides should see the writing on the wall and resign. Ouch. That's harsh, but it shows how badly people want to see this team succeed. Now, here's where things get really interesting. There's talk about bringing in a high-profile coach to work with Clark. Imagine someone with championship experience coming in to mentor the rookie sensation. That could be a game changer for the Fever. One fan hit the nail on the head. The Fever know they have a generational talent, and they have to restructure the talent at the top to maximize their potential. They're not wrong. Clark needs the right system and the right coach to truly shine. But this isn't just about the Fever. It's part of a bigger trend in the WNBA. Teams are restructuring left and right, trying to boost their competitiveness and profitability. The league is growing, and teams are realizing they need to step up their game both on and off the court. The fans are feeling it too. One said, finally they're taking this team seriously. That's the kind of energy the Fever want to build on. They're not just aiming to win a few more games, they're trying to create a dynasty. Think about it. You've got Caitlin Clark, one of the most hyped rookies in WNBA history. You've got Amber Cox, a marketing genius who knows how to fill seats. Now imagine adding a top-tier coach to that mix. Suddenly, the Fever aren't just rebuilding, they're reloading. Of course, there's no guarantee this will all work out. Firing a Hall of Famer like Dunn and potentially shaking up the coaching staff is a huge risk. But in sports, sometimes you have to risk it all to win it all. The Fever are betting big on their future. They're not content with just being competitive, they want to dominate. And with the talent they have, both on the court and in the front office, they might just pull it off. Alright, let's wrap this up. The Fever just pulled off the craziest move ever. They fired Dunn, a legend, and brought in Amber Cox, who's never been a GM before. Talk about a wild ride. So, what's next for the Fever? They've got Caitlin Clark, a superstar rookie, and now they've got a marketing genius running the show. Is this going to be the best thing ever for the team? Or are they about to crash and burn? One fan said it best. Is this the boldest move in WNBA history, or a disaster waiting to happen? That's the million-dollar question right there. The Fever are taking a huge risk, but if it pays off, they could become the team to beat in the WNBA. What do you think? Is Amber Cox the right person to lead the Fever to glory? Let me know in the comments.